Samadhi, concentration. Bhavana means mental development or cultivation. The goal of Bhavana is the attainment of perfect concentration, Samma Samadhi. It is an essential part of the Noble Eightfold Path, where it is found in the section on Samadhi or concentration. This section comprises of right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The other two sections of the Noble Eightfold Path are Sila, or virtues, which comprises right speech, right action, and right livelihood, and Panya, or wisdom, which comprises right view and right resolve. Bhavana is essentially what distinguishes Buddhist practice from other major religions. The goal of Bhavana is purification of the mind, freeing it from all desires or greed, hatred, and delusions. While right view and right resolve put us on the right path in our spiritual practice, Sila, right speech, right action, right livelihood, lays the foundation that frees our mind from remorse and guilt. In this way, the mind is able to achieve incrementally higher level of mind, such as gladness, joy, tranquility, and happiness, culminating in the ability of the mind to achieve deep concentration, or jhana. It is at the fourth jhana that the mind is absolutely equanimous and mindful, one-pointed, and able to discern things as they really are. The seeing and knowing of things as they really are lead to the realizations of impermanence and the sufferings associated with it. Having known and seen it, one has revulsion towards all forms of existence, in the Kamaloka, Rupaloka, or Arupaloka, becomes dispassionate and thereby works towards the destruction of the asavas. When this is attained, the work is done and there is no more work left. Nibbana is achieved. There is no more coming back. While the perfection of virtues or sila and generosity, dana, can lead to a better rebirth in heavens, we should note that this is not the ultimate goal of the Noble Eightfold Path. Heavenly existence, no matter how sensually pleasing it may be, is also subject to aging, sickness, and death. It is not permanent. What is not permanent is ultimately unsatisfactory. It just keeps us trapped in the cycle of samsara. In this sense, mental cultivation or bhavana becomes an indispensable part of our spiritual practice. Only by perfecting samadhi can we attain the state of imperturbability and realize the unconditioned nibbana. So let us take a closer look at right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Right effort. Right effort is associated with striving, with energy, with work. Yet the Buddha also cautions against excessive striving. Instead, he emphasizes a balanced effort that is neither too tight nor too loose, and uses the simile of a string instrument in producing just the right note or sound when the strings are tuned just right, as found in Sona Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya 6.55. Right effort is necessary as our mind has defilement and unskillful mental habits and tendencies. The 5 hindrances of sensual desires, ill will, sloth and torpor, anxiety and worries, and skeptical doubt prevent our mind from having constant and skillful mental states. They are obstacles to our ability to concentrate the mind deeply. Energetic vigilance is one of the 5 spiritual faculties conducive to practice. The other faculties are faith or saddha, mindfulness, sati, concentration, samadhi, and wisdom, panya. Right effort involves the elimination of unskillful thoughts or mental states and the promotion of skillful thoughts or mental states. Unskillful thoughts are associated with greed, hatred, and delusions, while skillful thoughts are associated with the absence of greed, hatred, and delusions. Other skillful mental states that should be aroused or maintained are the Brahma Viharas, namely Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekkha. In a nutshell, the goal of right effort is to develop skillful mental states and to abandon unskillful mental states. As stated in Kusala Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya 2.19. Right mindfulness. Right mindfulness is Samma Sati. Although the word mindfulness is commonly used for sati, in reality sati means to remember. So right mindfulness is not simply the ability to be aware of one's own bodily and mental processes in the present moment, but also the ability to remember to be self-aware continuously or constantly. In so doing, when mindfulness is established, every experience becomes a moment-to-moment experience of nowness, untainted by past experiences or future expectations. In the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, in Digha Nikaya 22, the Buddha advised us to be mindful of our bodily and mental processes through the 4 frames of reference, namely the body, Kaya Nupassana, feelings, Vedana Nupassana, mind, Chitta Nupassana, and Dhamma, Dhamma Nupassana. For each object or reference or frame of reference, one should focus on the object in and of itself, meaning undivided or unwavering attention to the object. In addition, one observes also the rising and passing away of the phenomena, thus seeing impermanence, anicca, emptiness, and the lack of a permanent unchanging self, anatta. Our deluded mind, not seeing this true nature, clings to what we believe to be permanent and desirable, or pushes away what we believe to be undesirable and suffering, dukkha, as a result. In practice, Sammasati requires us to remember to be constantly aware of our state of mind and its contents as it interacts with the external world. It means remembering to be aware of how our internal world of body, feelings, and thoughts are affected by our interactions with the world out there. We watch the unfolding of the drama from a non-personal perspective, instead of being caught in our normal mental habit of owning or clinging to these natural mental processes as mine. When we practice in this way, we can gradually replace our old mental habit of seeing every mental and bodily process as I or mine with one that sees them as they really are, impersonal. In time, we will be able to see that none of the 5 aggregates of body, feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness are mine or I. Unfortunately, the true knowing and seeing of things as they really are cannot be achieved simply with our mundane mind, which is scattered, not focused, not clear. What is required to see and know things as they really are is a concentrated and clear mind. Specifically, it is the one-pointed mind that has attained the 4th jhana. Right concentration. Samma Samadhi is often translated as right concentration. In the suttas, this is constantly related to the 4 rupa jhanas. Some people prefer to use the word composure or collectedness instead of concentration, as concentration has a negative connotation of forcing or bending the mind with energy or effort. Regardless of your word preference, Samma Samadhi is the practice of training yourself to bring or collect your scattered and dispersed mind together onto a single object of focus. This is done in a gentle and loving way and not associated with the stressfulness that is often implied in the word concentration. The Buddha used the simile of a well-tuned string instrument as an example of how one should concentrate one's mind. Too tight and the string snaps. Too loose and it does not create the proper sound. Just right and we get just the right sound. When done properly, the sustained habit of collecting the mind together into one object of focus leads gradually to 1. The quieting of the monkey mind. 2. The increase in concentration or samadhi and mindfulness sati. The increase in gladness and joy, piti. The increase in serenity or calmness, passaddhi. The increase in happiness, sukha. The increase in equanimity, upekkha. One-pointedness, ekaggata, which is the consummation of concentration and mindfulness. And finally, the increase in clarity and brightness of mind. When we look at the 5 jhana factors and the 7 factors of enlightenment, we will notice that when right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration are done properly, they lead to the fruition of all the 5 jhana factors and the 7 factors of enlightenment. The 5 jhana factors are 1. Vitakka, thought-directed or initial application. 2. Vichara, thought-sustained or sustained application. 3. Piti, often called rapture or joy. 4. Sukha or happiness. And 5. Ekaggata, one-pointedness. The Buddha often emphasized the importance of jhanas. The typical instructions for the attainment of the jhanas go like this. There is the case where a monk, quite withdrawn from sensuality, withdrawn from unskillful qualities of the mind, enters and remains in the first jhana, rapture and pleasure born from withdrawal, accompanied by directed thought and evaluation. He permeates and pervades, suffuses and fills this very body with the rapture and pleasure born from withdrawal. There is nothing of his entire body unpervaded by rapture and pleasure born from withdrawal. Furthermore, with the stilling of directed thoughts and evaluations, he enters and remains in the second jhana, rapture and pleasure born of composure, unification of awareness, free from directed thought and evaluation, internal assurance. He permeates and pervades, suffuses and fills this very body with the rapture and pleasure born of composure. There is nothing of his entire body unpervaded by rapture and pleasure born of composure. Furthermore, with the fading of rapture, he remains equanimous, mindful and alert, and senses pleasure with the body. He enters and remains in the third jhana, of which the noble ones declare, equanimous and mindful, he has a pleasant abiding. He permeates and pervades, suffuses and fills this very body with the pleasure divested of rapture, so that there is nothing of his entire body unpervaded with pleasure divested of rapture. And furthermore, with the abandoning of pleasures and stress, as with the earlier disappearance of elation and distress, he enters and remains in the fourth jhana, purity of equanimity and mindfulness, neither pleasure nor pain. He sits, permeating the body with a pure bright awareness, so that there is nothing of his entire body unpervaded by pure bright awareness. The above instructions are from the Samadanga Sutta, found in Anguttara Nikaya 5.28. The Buddha has given some good analogies with regards to the jhanas. In the same sutta, he likened the first jhana with a ball of bath powder that is thoroughly saturated with water, yet not excessive as to cause water to drip from it. The second jhana is compared to a lake that is thoroughly filled with cold water from a spring water from within, self-generating and self-perpetuating. The third jhana is likened to a lotus plant that is totally submerged in the water, perpetually and thoroughly wet in that state. The fourth jhana is compared to a man who is completely covered with a bright white cloth, denoting the bright, clear state of mind in this state. 7 factors of enlightenment. They are 1. Sati, or mindfulness. 2. Dhamma vichaya, keen investigation of the Dhamma. 3. Viriya, energy. 4. Piti, joy. 5. Pasadi, calm. 6. Samadhi, concentration. 7. Upekkha, equanimity. One should note that the attainment of the jhanas alone does not lead to enlightenment. Rather, having attained the jhanas, one uses that clarity of mind to penetrate into the true reality of things. Vipassana, seeing impermanence, sufferings, and not-self in all compounded existence. In the Samadhi Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya 4.94, the Buddha mentioned that there are 4 types of individuals in the world. They are 1. One who has attained internal tranquility of awareness, but not insight into phenomena through heightened discernment. 2. One who has attained insight into phenomena through heightened discernment, but not internal tranquility of awareness. 3. One who has neither internal tranquility of awareness nor insight into phenomena through heightened discernment. 4. One who has both internal tranquility of awareness and insight into phenomena through heightened discernment. Only when one has both internal tranquility of awareness and insight into phenomena through heightened discernment can one make an end of mental fermentations or the destruction of the asavas. 5 hindrances. It is worthwhile to take a closer look at the 5 hindrances, pancha nivarana: sense desires, kamachanda; ill will, vyapada; sloth and torpor, tina and mida; restlessness and worry, uddhacca and kukucca; and doubt, vichikicha. In the Sanghavravo Sutta in Samyutta Nikaya 46.55, the Buddha likened the mind to a bowl of water and the 5 hindrances to various conditions that disturb and contort the surface of the water, making it difficult for one to see one's own reflection perfectly on its surface without distortions. It is the 5 hindrances that prevent our original clear mind from seeing things as they really are. Instead, the 5 hindrances distort reality. Our sense desires are compared to a bowl of water covered by colorful powders and dyes. The forms and colors distort the appearance on the surface of the water. In the same way, ill will is compared to a bowl of boiling water, bubbling and distorting the surface as well. Sloth and torpor are compared to the water being filled with slime and moss, dull and cloudy, while restlessness and worry are compared to the surface of the water being distorted by strong winds blowing on it, causing ripples, eddies, and other movements on the surface of the water. Doubt is compared to a bowl of water that is murky or kept in a dark place. Without clarity or light, it cannot be clearly seen. Thus, in order for us to get a clear mind, we must first overcome these 5 hindrances, and this can be achieved with mental cultivation through right effort and right mindfulness, which will eventually lead to right concentration. The 37 Bodhipakkhya Dhamma. In the commentaries, it is often pointed out that there are 7 sets of mental qualities frequently mentioned by the Buddha that should be cultivated, for they lead to enlightenment. These 7 sets are: 1. The 4 right effort. 2. The 4 frames of reference or mindfulness. 3. The 4 bases of spiritual power. 4. The 5 spiritual faculties. 5. The 5 spiritual power. 6. The 7 factors of enlightenment. And 7. The Noble Eightfold Path. When we add all the 7 sets of mental qualities together, they get 37 items. However, note that some of them overlap or are repetitive. In practice, it is only necessary to focus on right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration for our mental cultivation. With the culmination of these 3 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path, the rest of the mental qualities conducive to enlightenment will come by on their own.